The Catholic monk Thomas Merton once observed that most of us spend our lives living in other people's minds. We obsessively manage how they perceive us, how they judge us, and whether they approve of us. For most driven adults, this external focus manifests as a relentless daily metric. We reach the end of the day and ask ourselves, have I done enough? But there is a second, much more difficult question hiding underneath that one. If you ask a high achiever, have you done enough, they can usually point to a list of accomplishments. But if you ask them, am I enough, they often find they cannot answer. Consider a one-day-old baby. They produce nothing and perform for no one, yet we intuitively recognize their total inherent value. We would never demand they prove their worth, yet as adults we struggle to apply that same standard to ourselves. Our obsession with external approval functions as a deeply ingrained survival mechanism. It is forged in our earliest relationships and reveals itself most clearly in our complete inability to say the word no. Adult burnout and chronic people-pleasing are the visible symptoms of a childhood defense mechanism working exactly as it was originally designed to. Right around 18 months of age, a toddler begins to use the word no as a vital tool. Nature provides this verbal boundary to allow the child to develop their own independent identity. This development is often interrupted. Many parents, limited by their own unresolved traumas or cultural expectations, struggle to accept a child for exactly who they are. They instead require the child to fit a preconceived idea of who they should be. The child recognizes this as a threat to their security and performs a brilliant survival adaptation. They suppress their authentic urges and reshape their personality entirely to secure the parent's love and safety. This childhood tactic hardwires the brain. It produces adults who are terrified that disappointing others or setting a boundary will result in immediate abandonment. By midlife, we often find ourselves trapped. We lose the ability to locate our instincts, mistaking compliant adaptations for our actual personality. Suppressing your instincts has a physical reality. In the early 20th century, Dr. Selye conducted research at the University of Montreal that provided the modern biological definition of stress. Inside Selye's laboratory, he proved that stress is not just a vague feeling, it is a measurable, empirical biological event that physically alters the organs. This chart shows a normal baseline interrupted by a stress response. In the short term, this surge in adrenaline and cortisol is a necessary tool to survive acute threats, giving us the energy to fight or flee. But look at the long-term cost. When these hormones stay elevated, they suppress the immune system, thicken the blood vessels, and ulcerate the intestines. Every unexpressed boundary, every suppressed instinct, and every unsaid no triggers this exact chronic stress response. When our minds stubbornly refuse to say no to protect our social image, the organism eventually says it for us, in the form of physical exhaustion or chronic illness. To reverse this process, we can practice compassionate inquiry, the act of asking ourselves probing questions without immediate self-judgment or blame. There is power in self-awareness. If you can stop and ask, why don't I trust my gut? The very fact that you can observe the disconnect proves that a deeper, authentic self is still alive inside you. View your past compliance not as a moral failure, but as a protective shield. It was a strategy that successfully kept you safe when you were young. Healing involves extending that same compassion we give to others inward, uncovering the truth that has always been there. You break the cycle by adopting a single actionable question. Where am I not saying no this week? Quietly observe the physical tension in your body when you locate an unsaid no at work or in a personal relationship. Do not try to fix it immediately, simply notice the fear of disappointment. Finally, strip away the need for external validation with one last question: what is true for me? Carry this question forward. Let it serve as your guide to end the lifelong sentence of living in other people's minds.